Unless an app is going to make you money, get rid of it. You can always look at the mobile versions. It's not as easy. You don't get the alerts, right? You got to decide how serious you are about your success. It's the bottom line. Hi, it's Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether it's Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go ahead and get that claimed. Smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Hi, this is your coach, Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. This episode, part 2 of how to get off to a great start in 2026. I want to continue the conversation with another 5 strategies to give you massive momentum this January to really propel yourself for excellence this year. So one of the observations I've made in my career is that January is not about producing results. And this is where I think a lot of advisors sabotage their efforts. If your brain is like, well, I want to bring in like $1 million of new money, and let's just use that, or $12 million, I should say, a year in 2026. The brain normally goes to a division of 12, right? So 12 million by 12 months is $1 million a month. And that's the way our brain likes to do things because it's nice, clean, and easy. We all know it doesn't work that way. And so what happens is we set these goals, these results-based goals for January, not realizing that we're not coming into the year with a lot of momentum. And then, February rolls around and we feel behind the curve already. And then at some point we just abandon it because the pursuit of the goal becomes too painful because the gap continues to widen. So what I've always recommended for the month of January is really not setting what I call ends goals, like production goals or new money goals or things like that. Let's set goals that are around activities. Call it priming the pump. So one of the things that we want to do in January is that we want to really make January our highest contact month of the year. And now the next question might be, well, who are we going to contact? I'm going to tell you, like, everybody. Now, what does that mean? And so if you have a team, you could definitely delegate this out. On the client side, we want to reach out to all of our clients, wish them a happy new year, and just kind of check in with them. Say, hey, hope you had a great holiday. Hey, by the way, just wanted to see any new financial goals, any issues, anything we want to focus on, anything we need to discuss, right? Now, why do I want to do that? Because people have this thing called New Year's resolutions. And we all know the top 2 resolutions are what? Get their money game right and get their what? Bodies right, right? So health and wealth. So, we don't deal with the health side of things, but we're in charge of the wealth side of things. So I want to check in. Don't assume that if your client sets a new goal that they're going to call you the next day so excited to share it with you. Most of them won't. Okay. So we want to call up all our clients. Next, we want to talk to all of our COIs. Again, happy holidays. Hope you had a great one. By the way, just reaching out to you. I want to sit down and find a way how we can work more closely together, how we can add more value to each other, right? Again, this is January. You can still talk to CPAs and tax preparers. They don't go into the weeds really until February. So January is a good time to talk to all of our tax preparer COIs and just kind of get our face in front of them. But again, how do we work more closely together? The third bucket of people to reach out to are prospects. Now, I know this is going to sound very rudimentary, but hear me out. All prospects are, they're everybody, right? They're people on your newsletter list, LinkedIn connections, people that you were referred to that you couldn't get a yes from. Like all those people, check in. Remember, people are open to change. There's a thing called the January effect, where the average human being is open for change. They're looking to improve themselves. By February, it's gone. So you have a limited amount of time here. So I want you to make January, and I don't care if you call, write, text, Loom or Bomb video them. I don't care how you do it, but make this month the highest contact month possible. Okay, super, super important. Next, tracking. Now, some of you do a better job of this than others, but I do think there are 5 things. When I think about a daily game plan, right? And we're not getting into time. I'm gonna give you let's just kind of talk in big chunks, if you will. I developed something years ago called the one-handed daily game plan. So I'll share it with you. First part is, did we do our morning ritual, or AKA our Magellan Power Hour? Number 2, how many contacts did we make? So contacts, just for definition's sake, is when we make an outbound voicemail, email, text. Doesn't mean we talked to them, had a conversation. We initiated that. So that'd be a contact. Now, if somebody reaches out, somebody calls our office and we talk to them and we actually have a conversation, that would then also count as a contact. So how many of those did you do? Third piece is how many meetings, review meetings, COI meetings, prospect meetings did you set today? To have the meeting, you got to set the meeting, right? Now, some of you may have staff that does that. That's okay. They still count, but how many did we do? Next, right? So I've got my morning, I've got my contacts, I've got me meet. Number 4, introduction conversations, introduction requests, right? So how many times every day do you bring up the fact that you're here as a resource for your clients, friends, family, colleagues, and coworkers, right? Like how many, if you do it 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 5 times a day, whatever the standard is right now, I will tell you, for like most of my personal clients, this is the number 1 way we get new households, is by just reminding our clients that we're here as a resource, and people know people. And we're not going to get into referrals today as a topic, but that's number 4. And what's the 5th one? Is tracking it. Where are you going to track it? You can keep it on a spreadsheet, or you put it in your CRM. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I guess you can put on a pad with some ticks, right? Some tick marks. I guess whatever works, really. And I know inside Magellan Network, we have this very cool, very elaborate tracking spreadsheet. Hi, Coach Joe Lukacs here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number 1, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. But here's the bottom line. Find a way to track your numbers this year and start now while it's early in the year. Next, client reviews, right? And I'm going to speak about it in a maybe a little bit different way, getting your client review scheduled, right, for January, February. I would like you to focus on those clients that have outside money, or I should say, have pending matters. So, for example, Tom and Mary Jones, there's $1 million over at the bank. We haven't consolidated yet. And they need to procure a long-term care policy, or they need to do some estate planning, or they need to update their wills or form a trust. I want you to front load your reviews with clients that have things to do. Why? Because again, the January effect. I want to take advantage when people are open to change. I want to sell with the wind right now. So I want you to be very methodical and schedule those clients that we can expand the work. All right. Nothing wrong with bringing a client in. You have all their money and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying don't do that, but remember, like that, those are what we call rinse and repeats. Like nothing's going to be new. It's going to be the same thing. Nothing wrong with that. But I'd rather slot somebody that I can grow a relationship with, right? So I want to front load my early Q1 or period one reviews with those households, those clients, which I can expand the work. All right. Next, what I call eliminating the non-servers, the threats. Do an audit of yourself. What apps are on your phone you don't need? What sucks up your time? I'll share a quick story, maybe two stories. So about 5-6 years ago, I was working with a client, and we were just talking. It was a Zoom. And we were just talking about, mindset and focus and stuff like that. And, he admitted to me, he said, I just have a tough, and I'm talking to him, we're doing a Zoom, right? And I'm hearing like this buzzing and like basically notifications on his phone. And like, it's like every 30 seconds. And I could see like his eyes would go from paying attention to what I'm talking to him about, right? To like down looking at his phone. And I went to him, I said, hey man, and I won't get into names because, it's all confidential. I said, hey, let me ask you a question, man. Like, you pay me a lot of money. Like it is not inexpensive to hire me as your personal coach. And yet I feel like I'm vying for your attention with your mobile device. So what's going on? He goes, yeah, it's my Facebook app and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm in all these groups. And I said, let me ask you a question. Is this like it is all? He goes, yeah. I go, man, how do you function? Like, how do you function? And I said, show me the phone. And he shows me a phone. And I can see like the Facebook app has got all these, like the red circles, like of all the notifications. I go, all right, I'm going to ask you to trust me. And I know you're not going to want to do this, but hear me out. For the next 48 hours, I want you to delete your Facebook app. You can always put it back later, but I want you to delete it. And you would literally think I told him to go shoot his puppy in the backyard. And he looked at me, and you can see he just didn't want to do it. I said, look, here's the deal. You're addicted to this. Zuckerberg wants you to be a trained monkey to his device, to his app. How much money has Facebook made you this last 12 months? Nothing. I said, right. I can tell you what I think. I said, this cost you a couple $100,000. A focus at least. So bottom line is he reluctantly deleted. I said, look, 48 hours. If you want to put it back in 48 hours, fine. Experiment's over. Make a long story short, I get a text message from him like 3 days later. Say, hey, I want to let you know I still have the app. And he goes, I can't believe how much more productive I am. I am shocked how much that app controlled my day. And I can tell you that. So here's the thing I would say to you. Unless an app is going to make you money, get rid of it. Yes, ESPN. Yes, The Athletic. Yes, Facebook. Yes, probably even LinkedIn, X, Instagram. You can always look at the mobile versions. It's not as easy. You don't get the alerts, right? You got to decide how serious you are about your success. It's the bottom line. So the other thing, we're talking about apps, people. And I'm not saying you should excommunicate your family members, but here's what I would do. And this is just, and I think there's this belief of people that we know, like we got this cushy gig and it's not like it's a real gig, it's not like we're like a doctor or something like that. We can just, so in other words, your friends and family can bother you all throughout the day, right? Like you're always available to them. And I think that's a grave mistake. I do think you need to set boundaries and parameters. And I'm totally fine with my clients, and even I do it, putting your phone on do not disturb when you got to focus. something's going on, they can call the office, right? Those phones still work. You got to control. Remember, it's not your time that's your most valuable commodity. It's your focus. Anything that takes me from my focus is an enemy, is a threat, and I treat it as such. Okay, so handle that. Last thing. We have a game inside Magellan Network called 10X Fridays. So what's a 10X Friday? 10X Friday means that we take the typical number of contacts you do in a given day, like Monday through Thursday, and we kind of blow them up. So if you're doing like 10 a day, you'll do 100 that day. I would love for every one of you to make every Friday in January a 10X Friday. Like, just take Fridays, and now why do we use Fridays, not 10X Mondays or marketing Mondays? Studies have shown the average human being is more open to things on Friday than Monday. Why? Weekends. They're looking forward. Just ask yourself, are you in a better mood on a Friday or on a Monday? There's your answer, right? We all know it's Friday. So take advantage. Go out there and take massive action. If you want to create momentum in 2026, and to me, January is all about momentum. It's not about producing results. It's about establishing and creating and generating momentum. All you want to focus on this month. And the best way to do that, it doesn't require like a slick script or I got to change my website. No. Take massive action. Massive action cures all slumps. Now, if you're not in a slump, great. Massive action initiates massive momentum. But go create that, okay? So that's what I have for you this week. So again, if you like this episode, make sure you're subscribed to our podcast or YouTube channel. Like this episode, make sure you get the notifications on. If you found this episode valuable, share it with a colleague in the game. And for more information, go to MagellanNetwork.net. Till next Friday, let's have a super week. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game, both personally and professionally.